How's it going out there, everyone? W.F.S. here. Now that Starfleet Academy has officially ended its first season, we can talk about the problems. Now, everybody, look, there are problems with this show, major problems. But the one thing that proves to me that these writers really don't know how to tell a decent story, basically, it has to do with one of the characters. One character that I believe really got screwed over in the writer's room, and I want to talk about this person today. The writers of Starfleet Academy, in my opinion, just do not know how to build up these characters. By the end of the series, nobody really knew who any of them were. No one gave a care about who they were, why they were in Starfleet. As I've said on many occasions, Starfleet Academy to me became more of a victim's place, a shelter for victims. It wasn't a place that builds up leadership skills and teaches you how to go exploring space. It taught you how to handle being a victim. They didn't even tell us how a person from Charon was in Starfleet Academy. They didn't even explain this little tidbit right here when you consider that in the original series of Star Trek, the entire race of Charon was killed off. They killed each other off because of their hatred, their racism toward each other. It was an incredible show that clearly, by the end, demonstrated that the entire race had murdered each other off. And yet here we are, some 800, 900 years later, and we have a Charon right here at Starfleet Academy. And throughout the season, no explanation as to how this person survived, how their race survived. When, as I said before, it was clear by the end of the episode from TOS that the entire race from Charon had murdered each other. Starfleet Academy's writers had an opportunity, my friends, to really build up something incredible in one of the characters. And I am about to prove to you and provide evidence that this character could have become something so much more. Instead, all that they wrote her off as was a victim and a coward.
Next.
I think I swallowed my comm badge.
Already?
Yeah.
Tricorder. Medical tricorder.
Ow!
Oh, don't be a baby.
This is the character that I want to talk about. This is the character that I want to talk about today. I don't know her name. All that I know her as is, I swallowed my comm badge. That is how so many people recognize this character. That is the only thing that we have ever given about this character. And as I said at the beginning of the video, most of the characters that are introduced at the beginning of a series or at the pilot episode are the ones that we're supposed to be focusing on. Yet, this one character has maybe 2 appearances in the whole season, which tells us that she's a throwaway character. But the next scene that I want to talk about, they had an opportunity here to build her up into something more, and they didn't. She was a throwaway character, and they just wasted an opportunity. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to be very clear on this one. I honestly believe that a lot of YouTubers were not fair in assessing this character in her response to this event that took place in the 6th episode of Starfleet Academy. Yes, she is a weak-minded, well, not weak-minded, but she is a very nervous person, and she obviously gets scared very easily, and one has to question how in the world she ever got accepted into Starfleet Academy in the first place. But anyway, her response to the events that were taking place on the view screen are not unrealistic, and there have been other Starfleet characters who have had moments of, I guess, emotional breakdowns while on duty. And unfortunately, a lot of YouTubers have neglected that aspect of Star Trek and have just chosen that just because this is a Kurtzman project, that this character deserves to be written off as just a complete failure. And I'm going to make the argument here that the only failure that took place is in the writer's room. This character had the opportunity to become something so much better. Let me demonstrate what I am talking about through other characters in Star Trek.
We've only got 8 minutes left. He's doing a countdown. It's the end of everything. What are you, robots?
Bailey, you're relieved.
Lieutenant Bailey in the Corbinite maneuver had a major meltdown after hearing Belloc's message to the crew and that their life was going to end in less than 8 minutes. No matter what they tried, no matter how they tried to negotiate their way out of it, it wasn't working. Bailey absolutely had a meltdown of epic proportions on the bridge. And this is where the writers of Starfleet Academy have it wrong, and yet the writers of this particular episode had it right.
Request permission to return to post, sir.
Permission granted.
Bailey had a meltdown, yes, and he had time to think about it. Because honestly, where was he going to go anyway? They were out in the middle of deep space, and there is nowhere that he could hide, no way he could run. You either face the problem, run away from it like a coward, or you man up and you get back to the job, which is what he did. The writers of Starfleet Academy had an opportunity there to make that girl face her demons, face her fears, and instead they just decided to write her off as nothing more than a coward. What about Lieutenant Barclay? Here is another character that the writers could have written off as just being a waste of space, someone who just is nervous or has phobias that are just not compatible with the operation of a starship. And yet, Picard refused to pass this problem on to other starships that apparently had been passed on to him.
I'm just not accustomed to seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
There's every indication that he served competently in Starfleet for years.
Ratings aboard the Zukov were satisfactory, and yet he chose this way of life. He has made the same commitment to Starfleet that we all have.
The writers of Starfleet Academy should have gone back to look at other captains and how they would have handled situations and problems like they did with cadets like her, Barclay, Bailey. These are characters that had at one point some kind of an emotional problem but found a way through it, and it basically was because of the leadership, because of the people above him who helped him grow into the stronger officer that he was not able to reach on his own. Barclay is another example of that. If it wasn't for Picard pushing Geordi, Barclay would never have become the character that everyone came to like on Next Generation. He became someone that everyone could, well, not necessarily look up to, but rely on. He became very dependable. He was a good, solid character. Yes, he had his emotional problems, but he learned how to deal with them. He learned how to face his fears. Unfortunately, at Starfleet Academy, the way the writers work on this show, they decided to use this character as a way of propping up the other characters. An incredible opportunity was missed there to turn that character around. She saw the captain's body floating in space, half the face apparently ripped apart by these cannibals, and she freaked out. Be realistic. Who wouldn't freak out at that idea if you've never seen anything like that before? But they failed to give her a redeeming story, which is why I say the writers at Starfleet Academy have no business writing Star Trek. They have no way of knowing what a redeemable story arc is. This character from Starfleet Academy was given a bum deal. She was. The writers over there at Starfleet Academy just do not know how to build up a good redeeming story arc. And this character is evidence of that. From Star Trek, the original series, The Next Generation, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, there is a history of writers telling stories about characters who take emotional falls and find the courage to bounce back after dealing with their tragedies, but not at Starfleet Academy. And that is such a damn shame. And as long as these writers continue to be employed, we will not see anything like what we have had before. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on this. What do you think of my assessment of this character and comparing her to other characters in the Star Trek universe? Please drop those comments below and let me know. Until the next time, my friends, God bless.